Hello and welcome to another video. So this is a spell boost deck for rotation currently and seems to do fairly well. The few games I have played with this, the most valuable card so far that I've used is probably Snowman and Giant Chimera. Despondent Chimera definitely gives you some more options, Fate's Hand of course being a wonderful card. Seraphic Blade deals with problematic cards, and then Rooney just as kind of an extra for either draw power or for the damage, depends on which one you want to go for, but mostly find these top three really do most of the work, and everything else just kind of supports those, so honestly does pretty great all round. You could run 3 Despondent Chimeras over 2 Snowman King, just run 3 in 1, or you can just mess around with numbers as you see fit, but overall I found this deck very successful and have won quite a few games with it so far, so I'm very happy with it. So we're going to get right into it and take a look. So the first class up on the chopping block will be against Haven.
Wanna play with Cagliostro?
Cagliostro, great, does well. Despondent Chimera, Fate's Hand, and Nova Blast are pretty average. Personally, I'll keep the Fates and drop everything else, just try and aim for some lower drops to really gain our hand. So we will keep this spell boost thing just ready for you guys, so at least it's viewable nicely. Which obviously it doesn't update until I click on anyway, so we'll just keep doing that. But as far as this deck goes, getting as much spell boost as you can as early as possible, along with a few nice cards like Giant Chimera works out really well, so a little bit of luck doesn't go astray, but you've got some decent draw power to draw those cards in a Fate's Hand and Magic Missile and things like that. And you can kind of stall out just enough. Otherwise, going for any kind of play that you can take advantage of, like this one, getting a super early double draw for 1, great. Even if the opponent is pushing for as much as they can get here. Of course, not too concerned. And we can get a nice spell boost owl in on pretty good board, honestly. 3 spell boostable cards, both gaining 2. I mean, you can't go wrong when you've got a Chimera that's currently at 10 damage total. And a Snowman on 3 automatically means you've got a full board of that set up. So Haven decks for most people are becoming a problem. I think a good way to counter those are decks like this one that deal really heavy burst damage very rapidly. I always found playing as Haven is very hard to deal with most kind of D-shifty style decks, which in rotation of course this is the closest we'll get to that. Impossible, definitely not. Haven definitely still has a edge. Is that edge really sharp? Not really, it's more like a butter knife at this point. But holding onto your Seraphic Blades for Tenkos is always the way to go, regardless of what other things they are playing. It's usually the way I like to hold onto them when in a Haven matchup. We'll definitely have more Haven videos coming too, because I am really loving that. Plan on doing a Elena deck for the Unlimited format, so hopefully you guys can enjoy that one when that comes out. So they're really just stacking their board, getting that Tenko, pretty much going for the Seraphic Blade now, remove it. We've got, you know, plenty of spell boost here. We've got some massive boost on that Chimera already, 16 damage on its own. And we've got plenty of removal. So we're really not concerned. Our biggest play is going to be a Giant Chimera into an immediate Snowman, as that's going to be kind of our win condition at this point in the game. And being able to clear these boards is really going to help, which is what Nova Flare seems to do exceptionally well. If I can abuse Wind Blast and Fiery Embrace pretty effectively, I shouldn't really need to worry. So we used up all of our points so that we could get a 0-cost Fiery Embrace for next turn, and get that Chimera up pretty much as high as we're going to get it at this point, which is totaling 19 damage on its own. Not so lucky though, these 3 heals are going to proc this White Fang Temple, which means we do have to deal with the immediate 6/6 as well. Luckily the Fire Embrace can clean that up, but it does mean we aren't getting as much damage with this burst, as we do have to waste 7 damage to remove their board, which they are then going to heal. So I do go for the Evo on the Giant Chimera. It makes it a little more sticky and a little harder to deal with. I felt like that was the way I wanted to go with this card. Unfortunately I did have another Seraphic Blade, which, I mean, not the biggest deal. If we can waste the Seraphic Blades on that and not on some of my other cards, I'll definitely accept it. So Snowman gets its punish. I mean, you can't go wrong. 15 Snowman King, if we could summon that many, would be amazing. But at this point, 6 damage is good. Even with the heal, as long as our Snowman King can summon 4, we should be well and truly ahead. We just can't afford for them to do too much healing. But when they have to spend most of their things to deal with this board, that's pretty fine. So they are going to heal 1 more point thanks to the leader ability that they have, and our Snowman with Wind Blast should be enough to nicely clean this up. With a pretty good 4 Storm Snowman. That's why I quite like this Snowman card. I wish it had got voted as leader because it would have been amazing, but fortunately that's the way the cookie crumbles. And next up, one of the other top dogs of the meta, Dragon. I'm not sure if this Dragon deck was really what you consider top meta though, as it was pretty clunky, I would say. At least in this matchup, it felt like they were playing very poorly. But overall, it gives you a sense of how you can go with this deck, and that's mainly what you want. I mean, this deck basically plays its strategy the same no matter what you're playing against. There really isn't much variation in what you can do with this deck for matchups. It's basically spell boost whatever you can get into your hand, deal with your opponent's board as effectively as possible to limit how much damage you take, and then just burst them down with massive chimeras, despondent chimeras, and really just anything that you can get a hold of at that point. Seraphic Blade, very early. We do already have our Wind Blast, but it's not going to be much good yet, and I could have used our own Seraphic Blade, but I did want to hold on to that as it does deal with much bigger followers. True Dragon, another one that's not too much of a problem, but does give them the ramp. So I do decide to take that early with this Wind Blast, and decide to ramp up quite well. And hold on to our hour just in case we can get another rampable card, or sorry, spell boostable card. So we have 8 on the Giant Chimera, 5 on the Despondent Chimera. That does mean we aren't quite on its ability yet, but with the spell boost we are going to at least have the initial abilities. Fortunately, I am still getting used to using Despondent Chimera, especially in this matchup in particular. If I had held it off using them a little bit later in the game, they would have had a lot more value with their storms, but I mean, learning experience. They didn't really do anything that turn. I'm guessing they just didn't have anything they wanted to play out. They ramped up quite hard, but didn't quite make it to 10 at this point, and with nothing on my board, they obviously couldn't play spells to counter me. Which is good, because it means they can't really do anything if I don't have anything big on board. So I can pretty comfortably play what I need. So, fortunately, I played that at the wrong moment. Honestly, if I had have played that right, I would have saved it, played out these, then played the Despondent next turn. It was just a very simple misplay of not having the right spell boost on it, which, like I said, was a good learning experience. It's something that I haven't really stuffed up in the future, and I don't really want to stuff up again. So the Conjure Guardian is pretty good with the Guardian Golem getting the 3/3, and there is the Proto Bahamut. Not a card I've actually experienced in the meta yet, so it's exciting to see it here. Of course, it can be pretty much immediately dealt with a few different cards, but I go for the option that gives me probably the best spell boost. Getting as much spell boost as I can on this Giant Chimera I thought was extremely important, even if I meant wasting a few spells, because it is currently at 22 on the Giant Chimera. Which unfortunately might not be enough. So that card creates a really hard ward kind of block on me, which I unfortunately can't get rid of immediately. Even if I had have played the Giant Chimera, probably wouldn't have been enough to remove the whole thing and then go face for a good source of damage. Much prefer to sit as comfortably as I can first. Which with the cards we've got is pretty fine. Despondent Chimera actually can have Storm now, so why not? Probably not going to need it at this point, but it's good to have it there. So we get our insight. Giant Chimera is now dealing 25, which does give us 1 off lethal at this point. I was a little disappointed that we were just that 1 off, but since we do have Despondent Chimera, I think we are in a pretty comfortable position. Of course, if I thought about it, I guess closing this off with Despondent Chimera would have been the most exciting thing to do, and still is the most exciting thing to do. As it's a card that I didn't really get to play too much, but when I do, it's absolutely nuts, so I do enjoy using it. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I mean, the idea behind this deck come from one of the HSK members that I saw on Twitter. I thought it looked interesting and I just adapted it slightly with the change to numbers just to fit what I had and what I wanted to play with, as I do actually feel a lot more comfortable running 2 Snowman King. I would probably run 3 Chimera though, and probably just drop down something else, maybe even Seraphic Blade down to 2 instead of 3. Maybe something in that order would probably work out nicely, but overall, very solid deck. Highly recommend it if you want to do well at the moment. Of course, meta will shift very quickly, so one day this deck could be good, next day it could be trashed. Who knows where the meta will go in the first week? It's always quite a roller coaster. If you did enjoy this video, hit the like button and subscribe. You'll find the deck list in the description below, and I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.